Welcome to the Net Profit Podcast with Ryan Kibler, your net profit CFO, helping business owners like you grow their net profit one episode at a time. And now your host, Ryan Kibler.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Net Profit Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Kibler, the Net Profit CFO. And if you follow along, you can tell that this is a different background for me today. And that's because I'm sitting with Jason Dames, Radiance Videography. We are in his studio today doing a podcast. So we're changing up the scenery for my show today. And I'm getting to interview Jason. So Jason, really an expert with video and really helps businesses with their social media presence and creating social media content. And I've gotten to know Jason, and he's a great guy, and I recommend connecting with him, and we'll get that info at the end of the show. But Jason, welcome to the show, and thank you for being a guest.
Man, thanks so much, Ryan. I'm really pumped about it. We just finished up we kind of swapped, and I interviewed you for a second, and that was so much fun, and you brought so much value to the podcast, and so I'm excited about posting that one. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited about this.
For sure. So I want you to have an opportunity. I gave a little bit of an introduction. We obviously know you're in video and doing social media content for businesses, but kind of give us your story a little bit. Give us your background. How did you get into, doing video for social media, and kind of catch us up on how you got to where you are today.
Oh man, I love it. I appreciate it because my story is a little bit weird how I got into video production. I used to be a personal trainer. I still love it. I love fitness. I love health, just all things health and wellness. I just would geek out on it, but I became a personal trainer, but my goal was to really help people in 5 key areas: nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, and toxins. And I was doing that. I started my business, but I was out of my house. And so I was training like primarily groups out of my house and training, mainly like most of my clients were middle-aged women that they wanted to lose weight and, wanted to help them with all those habits and lifestyle factors. My company's name was Final Start Fitness. So it's like, we're going to help this be your final time of dieting,
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it, but there was a lot of challenges that came with, training people out of my house. There was a lot of people that were like, hey, I'd love to come, but like I live so far away, or they just didn't feel comfortable coming into the house. And so then, people tend to give it a good old 2-month college try, and they didn't lose 70 pounds in a month. So it's like,
yeah,
they got kind of move on. So you're constantly replacing people. So my end goal with it was like, man, hey, if I could like create video content, build like more of a platform online, and then maybe I could build like programming like on an app where they could have everything, on an app where they could get all their meal plans, all their workouts and things like that. And then have video content that can help, explain a lot of the mechanics of the exercises. So that way they have it there. And I had this great app, and it, worked really great, but I needed to build a platform, right, to get it out in front of people.
Sure.
So I was like, man, I'm going to start making videos. I got on YouTube and I started buying some video equipment, started learning everything I could about video production, everything from cameras, the lightings, the settings, to editing, sound design, all that stuff. And it's like, I just fell in love with the whole process. I was like, man, I had no idea I would really enjoy doing all this, right? And my mind was kind of like, man, if I didn't do like personal training stuff, I think I would do this. And so fast forward of 2019, I was kind of at this crossroads because I was still spinning my wheels with as far as my personal training out of my house, and really wasn't quite there yet with, the platform. But at the same token, my buddy James, who owns this building that we're in right now, he had started hiring me out to do some video production stuff for his company because I started getting pretty good at it, right? And
okay.
Then I had a few people ask me to film their weddings, kind of got that under my belt. And I was actually starting to make some money, and I actually made quite a bit more on just on one project than I would like a whole month of personal training people. So I was like,
got it,
man, I don't know about this. I was kind of debating on going one of 2 directions. Like, should I open up a gym and go that route? But then I'm like, man, I don't want the stress, the overhead.
Big risk.
Yeah. And versus this, I could, kind of work from out of my house, start buying more and more gear as I go and just keep investing and getting better at it. And then also like I was just looking at it from a standpoint is like, man, video is becoming integrated in everybody's lives more than ever. Like it's only going to become more and more important. Businesses need it and they're willing to spend the money because they have marketing budgets versus, when it comes to personal training, it's like, spending a couple $100 a month and they're like that. A lot of times it's the first thing they give up, especially if they're not getting the results that they want.
Yeah.
So it just made a lot of sense. So I just switched gears and just went head on into started my own video production company and never looked back. And I absolutely love it. I'm passionate about it. I love telling people stories. I love being able to help companies, create content that is going to help them grow their business. There's so many things about it that I just enjoy, and it gives me a lot of flexibility at the same token. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how I got into it. I know it's a little bit of a long
No, all
way
good.
to
All good.
introduce
I
that.
love it. Yeah. I mean, when you land on a business's website and like one of the first things is like they have a background video or, you kind of scroll through their page and they've got, video on it, right? A whole different level compared to a business that you land on their page and it's all just pictures and words.
Man, and yeah, nobody wants to read anymore, read
Yeah.
through a thing. And so, yeah, I'm always like, when you don't see a video, like, man, you're totally missing it. Cause I mean, it's just the way our culture is. Like,
Yep.
I think I read a statistic that video gets 1,200% more engagement than, pictures and
Yeah.
text do.
Yeah.
And it's like, why wouldn't, you're,
We have a joke at my house that I can't read
I know.
because I never read instructions. I never read warning labels, anything like that. YouTube is like my number one, and I don't like reading, right? I am a numbers guy,
Yeah, yeah.
but YouTube is like my number one place to go to learn stuff.
Dude, that's where I've learned everything I know about video production, and there's so many good channels out there. And so
Yeah.
there's like, yeah, it's just not really a need to like, I mean, it's great people went to college, but I think you can get almost a better education there a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good content out there, a lot of good recorded videos. I mean, you're right?
Yeah.
It's ingrained in our lives, social media full of videos, right? Like, it's the way to go for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Worthwhile the investment.
Yeah, video is so important. It's so ingrained. I mean, when's the last time, like you and I both know too, like when you go to like Amazon or anything, another statistic is people are 70% more likely to buy a product if there's a video attached to
Yeah.
it. And so
Yep.
if you're not doing video content, you're like totally really missing out on so much, and it brings, so much more value to your business and whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I love telling people stories. I love, we do a lot of different video production, but primarily we're really focused on helping corporate businesses
Yep.
with creating, just creating content that's going to match their brand, right? Like so many times people are just putting out content that is just, hey, shot this on my phone and upload it or whatever. And that's fine. No, there's nothing wrong with it. And there's a time and place for it. But like you as a company, you spend so much time creating this excellent reputation and your quality of work. Well, we want to match that quality of content with your brand, right?
Yep.
And so, yeah, we really focus primarily on the business side, but we film a couple weddings a year and actually do some live streaming for some horse shows.
Yeah.
So we also do live stream production stuff for, so we could also do like corporate production,
Yep.
live streaming for, big events,
Yep.
things of that nature.
For sure.
So there's so many avenues in it, but yeah, it's so ingrained in our lives and it's so important. And I love every aspect of it.
For sure. Yeah, and I know your big core is if you've got a business, you're a business owner, you're doing things that are high quality, right? Let's take your website, your social media videos, like let's take, your video production really to the next level, right?
Yeah.
Beyond, hey, I'm filming this on my phone and you can tell that it's kind of wobbly and all that kind of stuff, right? It's like, no, let's make your video and your content first class.
Yeah.
And I think
That's exactly
it makes you look way more professional,
Yeah.
right? And your clients can definitely see that firsthand. Like, oh, you can definitely. There's a big difference between.
It's a first impression,
Yeah,
too,
it's a first impression.
Yeah,
There's a big
and
difference.
I mentioned to you off when you were in when the last video about like I really so Donald Miller wrote a book called Story Branding, and we were
Mhm.
talking a little bit about that, and I really like to use his concepts and the video side of especially, but that's for I think really all businesses. But I really enjoy too sitting down with businesses and help them really understand like, hey, what is your client's problems? And
Yep.
because the messaging is so important. What's your client's problems? How do you solve your client's problems differently than your competition? And then what's their life look like after you've solved their problems, right? It's like
Yep.
we could talk about, we make, great videos or quality videos, but it's like, great. Well, how does that benefit me? And how does it make my life better?
Yep.
And so, if you're a company out there and you never really thought about through this and you just ask yourself, like, what are the specific problems that my clients face? And like, how do I solve these problems? And then what does the customer's life look like after they solve their problem? And here's the thing about it I found is a lot of companies, like they know it. It's like kind of ingrained in their head because they hear their customers and the problems that they face, but they've never really thought about it and put it on paper and
Yeah.
like thought through like, okay, what is it, you know, for example, in the fitness industry, it's like, hey, I want to lose weight. But yeah, but why do you want to lose weight? Well, most of the time, women would come to me and say, man, Jason, I don't have any confidence. Like I feel like I can't take pictures with my family. I can't take my kids to the pool because I feel good about the way I look. And
Yep.
it affected every aspect of their life. And they had this like nagging thing in the back of their mind and they constantly thought about it all day long.
Yep.
And so the real problem that we've solved was that being able to get their confidence back and take back their life and be able to enjoy some of those things that they weren't able to do or didn't want to do because they felt ashamed or they just didn't have that confidence, right?
For sure.
And so, on the video production side, oftentimes it's like, man, business owners, they know they need, video content. They just don't know where to start. They really don't know what to communicate and the messaging. A lot of
Yep.
times, business owners don't feel confident in front of the camera. So like those are also things that we can
Sure.
help with, but ultimately take that off the plate and make you look, amazing like the company that you are.
Yep.
And so, in translating, like you said, that those first impressions and then looking at you as the professional and be like, man, I want to hire these guys. And then we help kind of put that messaging together and talk about like those problems that your clients are having and how you help overcome their problems.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when you can capture that in video, right?
Mm,
You get that out to your potential client base and all of a sudden they relate with that story, right? Like when you can really get in and pinpoint like this is a problem that my clients deal with and here's how they feel afterwards, right? That's what really makes a good story,
it
right?
really is.
If you think about like the last good movie that you probably watched,
Yeah,
right? Is probably because you related to the main character in one way or another, right?
absolutely.
And like a lot of good stories, that's kind of the framework, right?
Yeah.
Like, and the main character overcomes a problem, and then on the back side of that, their lives are changed, right? And helping businesses get that into video, I think, is super super important and a great way to convey what it is that your business does, and that takes things to a whole nother level, especially for visual learners.
Absolutely. Man, what you're saying is so important. Yeah, Donald Miller talks about that because, like, yeah, you want your customer to see the video and see themselves in it and, like, oh, like, that's the problems I'm facing, And I watched this. If you haven't, like, thought through this process and you start watching some commercials or something, you'll recognize it. But,
Yeah.
like, it was an OnStar commercial
Okay.
and it was very, very simple, but it started out like super peaceful in this woods. The deer's like drinking in the water and like it's this peaceful moment. And then all of a sudden it's disrupted with this like horn, like a car horn going off.
Yep.
And then the video pans up to the edge of the road and they got in a wreck and the lady's sitting in her car and OnStar comes on and is like, well, we got somebody out there and we'll be there in just a matter of moments.
Yep.
And then it just had a text that said, the last thing you want to be in a situation like this is alone.
Yep.
And they captured that.
Yeah.
The big thing was they were making the point is you're not alone. It wasn't all the little details of like what we do and the benefits that we have and stuff like that. It was like, no,
Yeah.
we're here for you when you're in these moments and alone and you don't have to be scared.
Yep. Yeah, that captures it well. And one of the things that's been popping in my head is all the Allstate commercials,
Oh
right? The
yeah,
guy
yeah.
that creates mayhem, right?
Yeah.
So this is an insurance
That's
company,
true. I
right?
love that one.
And
And he's got like tape all over him and like
I mean, it depends which one it is,
bandages.
but
Yeah.
they're creating these crazy scenarios of like, how did your house get ruined or your car get ruined, or if you don't have good coverage, this could happen to you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're really capturing like pain points that real people
Yeah, yeah.
have. And like, I think there's one that, like a tree falls on the car, and that's probably happened to people, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so through video and through a little bit of comedy, right? Because they do take it and kind of blow it out of proportion and make it kind of outrageous. They're really relating to their ideal client.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's the thing. It's for us, it's like we could create great quality content, but if the messaging isn't, good and targeting towards the customer's problems and the needs. I know this is something else Donald Miller says, like if you're not talking about your problems, your client's problems on a regular basis, you're missing the idea of marketing just in general.
Yeah.
And it's like you always constantly got to be like hitting what those problems are, because again, you want the customer to see themselves in that situation and how you can be the hero and the guide to help them overcome the problem. And oftentimes as a business owner, yeah, you're trying to be the hero in the story, like talking about, well, we've got like this award and blah blah blah. We've done this. Well, great. Well, how does that really benefit me?
Your client.
And there's
Yeah.
probably a time and a place for talking about some of that stuff. But yeah, it's like, man, the main point should be like, what are these problems that I'm facing, and how do I help my customers overcome those problems, and how can I talk about that on those problems on the video? And that's a big part of what we do.
Yeah.
With the process of sitting down with companies, kind of talk through that, like what is the messaging that we want to communicate. And recently I've been able to partner up with a couple other different ladies. One company's called SC Consultants, and they do on the marketing side, from everything from website design, logo, branding,
Yep.
that type of stuff, lead generation. And then another friend of ours, she has a company that does CRM management. So CRM does a lot of the software that does a lot of the business management side of things and the processes. And so we've kind of joined forces a little bit to where we can offer everything under one roof. And we called ourselves Trifecta because it's the three of us partnering together.
Yep.
And that's going to be a big game changer too, because like I said, if you have great quality content, but then you don't have a strategy to get it in front of people and a marketing plan to do that,
Yep.
Then it's just great content. It's going to be hard to
Right.
get more engagement and reach people. And so that's been a huge blessing for me. It's something that I've kind of been looking for a while. So I think that's a huge thing for a business owner, because then also they can have all that under one roof, and we can work together to help really grow their business.
Yeah, I think everything you're talking about there, right, is really the full package and putting it all together and having a full picture. And you're kind of getting to a place where business owners can just kind of push the easy button, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're a business owner out there, and I'm just going to, throw out like, a specific industry. I mean, let's just say like you're a roofer or something, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I got into business so I could put on roofs and make money, right? Like that's my thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, all this other stuff starts flying at you, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I got to market and get out and get clients.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I got to take them through the sales process and I got to close the deal. Oh my gosh, I got to have a website. And it's like all these things that you're not an expert at. And now you're getting to a place where like, not only are you helping them with the marketing strategy, which I think really sets you apart from a lot of other people that do video. You really understand, like learning from Donald Miller and things, the kind of the backstory of, to make really great content, we've got to capture your client's journey.
Yeah.
It's not about you as a business. It's capturing your client's journey, because they're the ones that are going to buy from you, right?
Yeah.
So that really sets you apart. And then you're kind of taking it to the next level of like, not only are we going to put your website together, but we're going to help you put video content on it. And we're going to help you get that video content out to your customer base and to your followers with the CRM side of things.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, that is just, let me walk up and kind of like the old office, like, easy button.
Yeah.
Easy button, right? Like that, everybody wants one of those in life.
Like you were talking about the CRM, and that's another big part that I'm excited about having, Dina be able to do that side on the CRM, because there's so many things that you can automate now with AI that can take off your plate as a business owner that a lot of companies aren't taking advantage of, and they can help build all those automations and to your business to be able to take so much off your plate so you can be more effective in your business or the things that you really want to focus on.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that's going to improve with time.
Yeah.
Right. Because I would not, I would not call AI an expert yet at anything that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like it can probably do some video content, some video editing for you, but I guarantee it's not going to be the quality that you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, there is, in one sense, there is a, concern there, but like I do think it's going to get really, really good to where people can just like type in something and like produce. But there's always going to be, I think, a huge need for me to be able to come in and film actual footage of, their particular clients and their business and whatnot. And, they do come out with, I think AI is powerful to do creative stuff. But at the moment, like you said, right now, it's just going to, produce some, pretty generic like things. Like we spend a lot of time on one, especially with like social media reels, is like capturing B-roll of the business, adding in a lot of, different captions and text and sound design. The sound design is like sound effects. So when you watch a movie, you hear all the guns going, like if you didn't hear those sounds, it wouldn't make the video near as appealing, right?
Yep.
So there's a lot of little things that we do there too on, whether, let's just say it's somebody, walking, taking steps, like we'll add little sounds that sound like stepping. So you actually get the feel or hear like what's going on, but it makes the video so much more engaging. So we do sound design. Color grading is another thing that takes time that people don't really think about, but it's like there's, really providing different contrast between like the highlights and shadows in a shot really makes it so much more appealing. Like when you watch a movie, they call it like the cinematic look.
Yep.
And that's what makes it cinematic, is you have these contrasts and highlights and shadows. We got this little tool over here with shining a light. It looks like it's not a window, but it looks like it's shining a light through the window. Little things like that. These little things make videos more engaging and
for sure
more interesting to watch. Having great audio, like people are forgiving for quality footage, but they're not forgiving for like poor quality audio. Like if you hear scrolling through and you hear like bad audio or stuff in the background, or it sounds like a trash can, they're just going to move on. They're moving on, man. They're not going to give it another second. And so you're missing out on so much opportunity right there if you just don't have good audio in your
and that
can
mess with your transcription too, right?
Yeah.
I know, a lot of business owners, a lot of people in general, right? You're going through LinkedIn, or you're going through Facebook, you're going through whatever, you probably don't have sound on, right?
Yeah.
So
like you said
gotta
too,
have
like
it transcribed.
And if it's transcribed the wrong word and it is pulling up, or that might not be very good or professional for you as well. So
for sure.
It's these so many little things that are, a lot of it takes time, and to do it. And that's why sometimes I think a lot of times in people's mind, it's just like, hey, set up a camera, point and shoot, and then you're done. Well, I mean, that could be the case if you want poor quality stuff, but if you want it done right, it takes time. There's a lot involved, a lot on the editing side.
Yeah.
But we're doing all these things, like I said earlier, to help match your brand and help take you to the next level. And, I really believe that if you could have good quality video footage that's going to be engaging, and then you put the right messaging behind it, like the return on investment will be phenomenal.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, it's taking things to the next level.
Yeah.
Really it is. And, I think if you're a business owner out there and, you haven't worked with professional video company more than just, hey, I took some videos on my phone, right? Like it's just taking things to a different level, right? And making that investment to then put into your website is something you could have for many years to come.
And you can send it out over and over again, and it can have like a lot longer, effect.
For sure. I mean, I started doing video like, on the podcast recently, and I'm just, because I used to just do audio, and like I'm super surprised that, I sit down, I interview somebody for 30 or 40 minutes, and it's like how many video clips come out of that 30 or 40 minutes, right?
Well,
There's
me
just
and
so
you
many.
talked about it. So yeah, if you're a business owner, it's something I really am encouraging companies to do more of is what we're doing now is like podcasting. And,
Yep.
we were talking before we started this was like podcasting offers so many things, I think, for a business. One, if you're talking about your business and some of the things that you can help your clients with, you're going to become the trusted name. It
Yeah.
helps build your brand. But also if you bring on interview other entrepreneurs like yourself, now there's a whole nother sphere of influence. Like you said, they're going to be more apt to want to share the video on their platforms. So now you've gotten into a different audience, and then it allows you to repurpose so
Yeah.
many things into social media reels. So you're staying in front of people. So you could take little 1 minute clips out of that 45-minute talk, like you said, and take so many pieces. And now you've got all this content to work with on a regular basis to put out in front of people.
For
So
sure.
I think it's a great thing to do. And, it's something that if you just want to invest in a good key light and a good microphone and things like that, you can start out doing yourself. But if you really want to take it to the next level, then we can kind of
Yeah.
step in and help with that.
For sure, absolutely. And I think that's really a good segue here into, our next part. And that is, what's the best way for my audience, to connect with you, get help
Yeah.
from you, and really work with you and take their video to the next level?
Yeah.
Where's the best place for them to find you?
My website's radiancevideography.com. I'm on all the social media platforms,
Yep.
Facebook. We're not on TikTok. I never got on there, but YouTube, we've got the podcast on there, on Spotify as well.
Yep.
But as far as getting a hold of us, social media, Facebook, Instagram,
Yep.
all under Radiance Videography. So,
Yeah.
and you can reach out. Cell phone number, I think, is on my website, or my business number.
Love it.
So yeah, man, that would be great if anybody's interested.
Very cool. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I highly recommend, get connected with you, take your video to the next level. Again, even if it's just something for you to put on your website to have, permanently for years to come. Again, it can completely transform how your website looks and feels versus just words and pictures, right? It's really
Absolutely.
taking things to the next level and making things professional. So highly recommend connect with Jason, Radiance Videography. And until next time, everybody, go and accelerate your profits. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Net Profit Podcast with Ryan Kimler. Make sure to subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to check the show notes for our guest contact information and to connect with Ryan on his website, netprofitcfo.com.